Welcome to Orlando Backlot Podcast. This is a podcast that celebrates the real Orlando, the theme park moments that you'll talk about forever, and the local stuff that makes the city what it is. I'm a local. I grew up in Florida, and I moved to Orlando when I was 18, so I do know the ins and outs, but this isn't just a tips and tricks podcast. It's stories, opinions, and the kind of recommendations you'd get if you had a friend that lives here. We'll definitely be talking about Universal and Disney and just everything that makes Orlando what it is. So if you're a local, consider this a way to fall back in love with Orlando. So whether you're planning your first trip, looking for your next favorite thing to do, or you just miss Orlando, pull up a chair, grab a coffee, shut up, put on the podcast, and let's go to the backlot. Is that corny? Orlando Backlot, Episode 1. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tyler Tamburino, and this is the first episode. We're going to see how it goes. I've never really done a podcast before, so we're going to see how this is. You already kind of know what the podcast is about. My name is Tyler Tamburino. I've lived in Florida my whole life. I moved to Orlando when I was 18. So I do, kind of know the ins and outs of Orlando. So I feel like my goal with this podcast is to just kind of be a friend to you and talk about the things that I love about Orlando. I love the theme parks. I love Universal and Disney and coffee. Those are like my top favorite things. And I love my wife too, but that's something that you can't really have because she's my wife. But with this podcast, my goal is to basically be a friend and talk about the things that I think people often overlook with Orlando. Because when people come here, it's really just Disney World. It's Universal and the theme parks, and it, as it should be. But there's so much more to the city, and there's so much more of the surrounding cities as well that I think are worth mentioning, and something that I, really have grown to love over the years. One thing that I love to talk about is how Orlando changes so quickly. And I think for right now, it's changing for the better. There's a lot of new things that are happening. And I kind of love that because living here, it's never boring. It doesn't feel super jarring either, as you might think, because there's so many different parts of Orlando. Whereas if you live in, say Winter Garden, or if you live downtown Orlando, you can have two completely different types of lifestyles. And I think that's something that I enjoy, is you can try out all these different places. And, for people that don't know about this and they just go to Disney and Universal, nobody would really talk about that very often. Orlando doesn't really seem like a place that you can live, raise a family, or anything like that, because really around the theme parks, it's just highways and, stuff like that. It doesn't seem like a very cozy place. And unfortunately, that's the only thing that people really see when they come here, when they fly in to the airport at MCO and then go right to Disney. They're missing so many great spots. One thing that I'm probably going to be talking about a lot is coffee. I love coffee. I've drank coffee for my entire life, and Orlando has a huge coffee scene. There's so many different coffee shops that will start up here, and some of them might not last, but some of them will flourish and stay here for a really long time and become one of the most important, coffee shops over here. There's a huge, huge coffee culture. But what I really just overall, I want to talk about the city. I want to celebrate the city. If you are not living here, or if you do live here, I want this to be for you. I want, again, to be a friend to the people who appreciate Orlando and the theme parks. I'm a huge theme park person, but I also love doing certain stuff around Orlando that I think are worth sharing. Growing up here in Florida, I remember always going to Disney, Universal as a kid. Some of my most happy memories are at theme parks, and that is the draw of why I fell in love with it, really, is because of the theme parks. And, coming here when I was a kid, I would always, love going there, and that was because I was with my family, and we just have a lot of great memories there. But, since moving here, I moved here for college, and getting to go to college here was a really unique experience, because not only did I get, the college experience, I also got to live in Orlando, which was really cool because, again, there's so many different things that's happening. Like, Jeff's Bagel Run, they just opened a couple days ago, and it's already a hit. People love it. And that is a big thing. It's almost like we're in the center of, pop culture in a little bit of a way. Like we aren't obviously a Los Angeles or New York or anything like that, but this stuff happens here, and there's a lot of new things. It's very stimulating, and there's just so many things to do. It's never a dull moment. So I grew up in Daytona, and coming to Orlando was one of my happiest memories. I just remember loving Universal. I remember one really fun memory was watching the Christmas Vacation in the Portofino Hotel with my mom, my aunt, my brother, and my little cousin, and we just ordered room service, and it was during Christmas time, so we had a view of the Christmas tree out there in Portofino, and we were just watching Christmas Vacation in the room after like a nice day at the park. And it was so fun, and like my life is filled with those types of memories, and I really want to share that with you guys so how to so you can put yourself in a position to have those memories as well. And I think with this as well, overall, I'm just trying to show you, some really cool spots. Like even last night, my wife and I went to a play at UCF, University of Central Florida, and it was such a cool experience. And I'm sure, yeah, you can get that anywhere, but there's always something to do. Like we went on a Friday night, but they also had one on Tuesday night. Like that's just how you can live your life here, is like by having every night be like a Friday night. And I think that's really cool. You can end your day, you can start your day at the parks. I don't know if you've been following me on YouTube or Instagram. I've been doing a series where it's called Rope Dropping Every Ride at Universal before I go to work. So I basically will start my day riding a ride at Universal, just because I can, because I live here. We live super close to the park. It's literally on my way to the office, which is just so cool. It's such a cool lifestyle. And that's bottom line, the reason why I wanted to start this podcast. But enough about me. Let's get into some updates regarding some of the parks, some new spots that I really like so far. So first, I'm going to talk about Universal. Universal has a lot of stuff going on. The biggest thing, they just took down Rip Ride Rockit, which I hated that ride so much. It just was like, it freaked me out, and I never really enjoyed it. But with the new addition of the Fast and the Furious ride, I'm excited for that just because they're taking away Supercharged right now. And I did not like that ride. Nobody really liked that ride. It felt super lazy to me. So I'm excited to hear and see all the new updates about what is going to actually go there. I heard there could be a night bus ride, which would be actually really cool. I felt like there should have been a night bus ride in the already, but I think that would be kind of a cool addition, because if you look at it, you can actually see how they could expand Diagon Alley or just the Harry Potter themed area over to that area. There would have to be some sort of different theming, but I think it's definitely doable. I mean, Universal built Epic in like 2 years, or not even. I don't even think it was 2 years, but they can work pretty quickly. And I think that would be such a cool addition. I'm also hearing Ghostbusters. I'm hearing the main one that I'm hearing is Back to the Future, which would be really cool. Something to get kind of like the old IPs in there, since they changed it from The Simpsons, or changed it to The Simpsons. I think that would be really cool. I don't know how they would do that though, because Back to the Future, it would have to be on some sort of bus, because that ride is, unless they change the entire ride, but I feel like they're not going to do that. But they would have to do something Back to the Future where it involves a bus, because right now it's like a Fast and the Furious party bus or something, and and it seems so silly talking about, like, saying that out loud, because that's really, really cringy, but it is what it is. But anyways, I'm glad that that's going to be changing, and they're going to put the Hollywood Drift at Universal. And it's kind of getting like a lot of hate too, but I welcome it, because I think that would actually be kind of cool. That to me is, if they're gonna have a Fast and the Furious ride, I feel like it should be that, because the Supercharged thing, it doesn't really work. Like, it should be a roller coaster. Like, it's Fast and the Furious. I mean, that franchise is, in my opinion, so overdone. So they need something to appeal to a super large audience, and I think having a roller coaster, like one of the main roller coasters at Universal, the Skyline of the park, was Rip Ride Rockit. So they're gonna basically change the entire Skyline. So it's gonna be a super main ride there, main attraction. So I think that's probably the best way to go. Now they already have one in California that is the same, Hollywood Drift ride, but I don't think it's going to be a direct copy and paste of it, just because there's a part on the Hollywood Drift ride in California where it's actually like built into the side of a mountain. So we obviously don't have that here, so it can't be a direct copy and paste of that. But I do think it's gonna, have some sort of similar attributes to it. But again, I'm super excited about that. That's like the main thing at Universal. That's it's the talk of the town right now. But what else is new? What else is happening at Universal is Mardi Gras. And my wife and I are actually going to go to the Red Coconut Club right after I finish this episode, because we're getting early access, I think from 3 to 5 p.m. Let me see. I think it's 3 to 5 p.m. and it's February 7th at the time of recording this. So we're going to go and, check it out. I really like the Red Coconut Club. If you don't know what that is, it's a it's a bar at CityWalk, pretty much, but it changes throughout the year with events. My favorite time to go there is during Halloween Horror Nights because it turns into the Dead Coconut Club, and I think that's so cool. They usually do a lot of cool different things there, and I don't drink ever. I used to, but it just doesn't work for me anymore. But it's still such a cool place to go and hang out. Like my wife and I will just get like a lemonade or something and kind of call it a day. But I mean, that just in itself goes to show that it's a cool place because neither of us drink. So it's just a fun place to hang out, even if you are not looking for a drink. Because they have like live entertainment and they have just a bunch of different things happening. It kind of feels like its own Halloween Horror Nights house when you go in there during that time. And I'm assuming they're gonna do it like they're gonna do it the same type of way for Mardi Gras because I already saw the outside facade. I have a video on my Instagram and YouTube if you want to check it out about the outside facade, and I haven't seen it since I recorded that, which was like maybe a few days ago. But it's just a really cool place. I've been going to Halloween Horror Nights since 2013, and I haven't missed a year yet. And I just started going to Red Coconut Club like maybe 3 years ago because I didn't even know about it. It's kind of hidden at CityWalk, but it's genuinely is a literal hidden gem. Because when you're walking in, you're not thinking about, like, if you're walking into CityWalk, you're not thinking about really turning around and going up to the escalator. You want to go to the parks, which is straight ahead and to the right or left. But to get to the Red Coconut Club, you walk into CityWalk and you have to go up the escalator, and it's kind of like in a back corner. It's such a cool spot, though. Especially like if you have family or somebody that's never been to the park before, it's such a cool like warm up for people. It's a cool warm up for Halloween Horror Nights. It's especially fun if like if somebody's looking for a drink that they want to have before they go into the park or something like that, or just do a little warm up for Halloween Horror Nights. Especially if it's their first time. I'm speaking from experience here with some of my friends and family. It like gets them really excited because it is such a cool thing to start and get in the mood for the event that's happening. Nice little precursor to it. I remember they did, I think it was last year, they did a witch themed. It was like a witch college party during Halloween Horror Nights. That was really fun. My wife and I love that. Did we see the show that they did there? Okay, so we missed the show, but I saw videos of it, and it was basically like witches, sorority girls bullying a frat guy, and it was so funny. Like it was just fun. And it was taking place like when you walk into the bar, you are literally in a sorority house party. And I think that was such a well done thing, because they got the college dorm stuff down. Like if you go on Amazon or something and you type in like girl college dorm, that's what it kind of looked like. But they twisted in so much like witch decor as well. Like outside they had like broom parking and stuff like that. I thought that was hilarious. But it's just a heavily themed bar, essentially. But for Mardi Gras and for Christmas, I think, too, they do. I'm sure they do it for other places. I might be missing some, but I know they do it for Halloween Horror Nights. And it's just a really cool bar to go to check out. It's something that's often overlooked. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. That was really, really cool. There's a ton of stuff that's happening at CityWalk. Bob Marley birthday celebration. I didn't know that so many people, like, I know that Bob Marley is obviously one of the most famous people in the world, but I did a video on the restaurant there at CityWalk, and it kind of blew up. Like, people just love Bob Marley, and his birthday celebration is happening. I don't know what the exact dates are, but let me find out. But yeah, I did the video for it, and it really blew up. So we're gonna go and cover it. I've never been to the birthday celebration, but I've heard a lot about it. I know they had it last year. I don't know how many years previous they've had it, but we are probably gonna go because one, it did really well and people seem to care about it. I asked if, people wanted me to cover it, and a few people said yeah, because sometimes, like, around this time, people don't really get a chance to go to something like that if they're going to Universal, especially if you're from out of town. You are really just looking to go to the parks, and you don't really have time for all that, like, extracurricular stuff during your vacation. So as an annual pass holder, as a local, I think it's important for myself and for other creators here to do stuff like that, to show other people that, hey, there's a ton of other things that you can do, rather than just going to the parks. So Bob Marley, A Tribute to Freedom, is let me see here. So that's the restaurant. They always have like a live performance there. And something too that I didn't realize is that people don't know that the restaurant is actually a direct replica of Bob Marley's actual home, which I thought was really cool. I learned that like a long time ago, but I didn't realize how cool that actually was until I did the video. I was like, oh wow, that's actually a really cool topic to talk about. But they have a great menu. I've actually never ate here before. It's Jamaican food. It's called Bob Marley, A Tribute to Freedom. It's a full service dining place. It's open from 8 to 1 a.m., 8 a.m. to 1 a.m., which is crazy. Let me see when the dates are for his birthday celebration, because I think it's only like a few days. So the time and the location is February 7th, so today, starting at 8:30 p.m. Okay, I was reading it on the Universal website. I thought it was 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. I was like, that's crazy. But it's 8:30 p.m. to February 8th, 1 a.m. And it's at CityWalk. And basically what it's telling me is celebrating Bob Marley's birthday with us for an unforgettable evening. Experience the culture through food, drinks, and live music. Celebrating Bob Marley's classics, reggae, dancehall tunes. And there's a performance by Shamanic Roots. They seem cool. There's a cool photo of them on here. They start at 8:30 p.m. But yeah, it seems like a cool little not little. I mean, this is like kind of huge for people, but it seems like an interesting celebration that I think would be worth going to. But yeah, people are live streaming it and everything. It looks really fun. But that's kind of the happenings at Universal right now. I know for Disney, I'm trying to think, there's not much going on. I feel like a lot of stuff is going to be closed this year, which kind of sucks. Oh, before I talk about Disney, Finnegan's is getting a big refurbishment, which makes me kind of sad and nervous because I loved how the inside looked at Finnegan's. It was literally like a classic Irish pub. I hope they don't like modernize it and turn it into, this new minimalistic stuff. I don't like that. I like some character, but I trust them that if they are going to refurbish it, it's going to look even better than it would. But it still makes me nervous because I did love how it looked already. One thing that I thought was cool is I heard that there's going to be a drink window that you can just walk up and grab a drink. That would be good, especially for horror nights, because if you've ever been in Finnegan's during horror nights, it's absolutely crazy. It's not built for the amount of drinking that is done during Halloween Horror Nights. When you go in there, they literally have like sections set up at the bar, a line with sections per bartender, and there's like probably 13 little sections that you can go to drink. And you go by party, you get a couple drinks. It's a very quick thing. And a part of me wishes, like, with a beautiful bar like that, I wish it was more of a place where you can just kind of go and hang out for a while. But it always felt during horror nights kind of rushed, or at least gradually over the years, like since 2023, it's kind of felt very rushed. And you know, it's for good reason. Like, you can't have that many people in there, but man, I wish it was just kind of a cool little Irish pub that you can just go and hang out in. I think that would be really, really sweet. So I'm hoping that, you know, when they do refurbish it, it's going to open, I think, either beginning of the year or end of this year, 2026. I think it's the end of this year. So that should be cool. I'm excited to see. You know, I'm sad that it's closed, because I feel like that's a good spot to eat when you are at the park, because it's a nice, like, actual sit down restaurant. It's not like, you know, a normal theme park place. You could just get some burgers and hot dogs. It's like an actual Irish pub, and you can get actual Irish food there. It's very cool. But anyways, moving on to Disney, a lot of stuff is going to be closed this year. They just closed Rivers of America to make way for Cars, and they closed the Muppet area at Hollywood Studios to make way for Monsters Inc., which I am excited. It's always a bittersweet thing for me, because I do like Monsters Inc. and I love Cars too. And I'm more sad about the closure of Muppets, because I love the Muppets. I think they're cute, and I've always loved them for like a really long time. My first book was Baby Muppet, or a Muppet Baby book when I was growing up. And I you know, going on to see the Muppet Show at Hollywood Studios was always such a fun thing. It was always a must-do for my family and I. So it is sad to see it go. I do love Monsters, Inc., and I think it's going to be awesome. I really do. I think it's going to be cool. But it is sad. It is sad to always see a closure, you know, making way for something new. And I think that also goes back to kind of the heart of the podcast a little bit. It's like, you've created these memories, and you don't like new stuff because you don't have any good memories there yet. But I think once it opens for a little while, people get used to stuff like that, it'll become more okay. It'll become okay. But, you know, for now, it's only bitter because it's closed and there's nothing really to, like, fill that void or fill that replacement, which is kind of sad. But, you know, I'm more sad about the Muppet area. And, you know, Tom Sawyer's Island was always cool. That was always fun for me as a kid. You know, the Liberty Square riverboat is gone. And it's, you know, to make way for Cars, which I think is cool. I think it's going to bring in a lot more people to the parks too, which I always love, and welcome that. But I definitely will miss that. But I am really excited for Cars, I have to admit. I kind of like that. It was the only thing I'm kind of concerned about, like, aesthetically, is I feel like they took away such a nice part of Magic Kingdom where it kind of broke up, like, the actual, like, land and ground of it, where it was just like a river. And that was kind of cool to have in, like, the middle of a theme park. But now it's going to be they're probably going to have like Cars Land, like how they have out in California, which was so beautiful. I went there in 2024 or 2023, and it was gorgeous. Like they did that correctly. Um, but I'm hoping that it will not feel like just a plot of land there. Especially just coming from like a river or a lake in the middle of the theme park, which was really cool. But, again, I hope it's just not a plop of just land and desert, that Cars desert dirt thing. I hope it looks nice. I think it will, though. The other thing is Dinosaur closed. This is something that I was super interested in, not super excited about. I did think Dino Land USA needed a upgrade. Wish they didn't close it, but because I really like that ride and I thought it was so super unique. But again, it wasn't getting the amount of people. I think when I was younger, it was a big thing. It was like, oh my God, we're going to Dino Land USA. But now when you go there, it just kind of felt like, I know it's supposed to be themed after a fair, but it just felt like a fair, like a temporary fair. And that's fine, but you're at Disney, so I wish it would kind of feel like Disney a little bit. So it did need a refurbishment, is what I'm trying to say. So they're changing Dinosaur to the Indiana Jones ride, which is probably going to be identical to the one at California because they already have that ride at Disney California or Disney Anaheim. Same kind of ride mechanics, same type of story. It's like the cars are identical. So I think that also might be a copy and paste, but hopefully maybe it's something a little bit different. Although I'm a huge fan of Indiana Jones. I love the Indiana Jones franchise, so I'm actually very excited about that. I was sad to see Dinosaur close. Was not sad to see Dino Land USA close, because the only thing I liked in there was the dinosaur ride. But I'm really excited for it to be an Indiana Jones experience. So I'm not super upset about that. I do have an issue with how much they're closing this year. If you have an annual pass, it's it kind of sucks because a lot of stuff is closed. And it might not be the year, if you don't have one, it might not be the year to get one, because there is so much that is not there right now. A lot of stuff is down for refurbishment, but I think next year it's going to probably go up in price a little bit for annual passes once everything opens. So if you are going to get one, maybe it would be a good time to get one now, just to maybe save a little bit of money, because I just saw that all of the annual passes for Disney is $99. So even like the top tier in Credit Pass is $99 for a down payment. Now, granted, you are going to pay for the price monthly, and the $99 probably won't carry over to the next year, but it will still, it could work for you. It might be a smart move to get one now, but if you're looking to get one just to go to the parks, I would maybe hold off a little bit longer. Maybe wait till like the end of the year and get a pass, because hopefully things will start opening back up a little bit come the next year. I don't know when things are supposed to open. I don't really want to say a date because I could be wrong, and they always seem to push it. And one last thing, and I have to wrap this up, is Bob Iger is being replaced by Josh D'Amaro, CEO. I'm happy about this. I gotta be honest. I want some we gotta get some new meat in there. We gotta get some new meat, because the way that it's going right now is not, I feel like Walt is kind of rolling over in his grave right now with how Disney is. The Fast Pass, the Magic whatever, kind of BS. It's kind of BS. Nobody likes it. I think it's kind of just like Disney has become one of the most expensive things you can do in your life right now. Orlando MCO also just opened up a direct flight from Orlando to Tokyo. It's cheaper to go to Tokyo Disney than it is for some people to go to Walt Disney World in Orlando. That's kind of a problem. That's a little bit of a problem. So I'm hoping, I have a good feeling about Josh DeMero stepping in. Hopefully there's some good changes. Hopefully there's some decent, stuff to do. I hope it becomes a little bit more accessible for people. In the best sense, a little bit more affordable, because I feel like everybody should experience Disney at least one point in their life. And I think now is just like not the time to. Now is just so it feels money hungry to me. But I wish, I do encourage you to go to the park responsibly, and it's not worth going broke over. And if you listen to this podcast, I'm going to tell you a ton of things to do while this is, being resolved and settling in, just to kind of, keep that Orlando fix alive. And then real quick, I'm going to go over it because I'm running out of time. My favorite coffee shops right now, Jeff Bagel Run, Filigree Coffee in Hamlin, and Lineage. Lineage will always be in my top list because that's just my home right there. But I just wanted to talk about coffee real quick because it is going to be a big part of this podcast. But if you are in Orlando, I really, really recommend getting one of those at least. The Filigree in Hamlin is maybe 20 minutes from Disney. It's probably about 25 minutes from Universal. Such a cool coffee shop. They just opened. They were a little coffee cart in like a brewery before. Now they just moved next door. They have a beautiful store, beautiful coffee shop. It's definitely worth trying out. So guys, that is episode 1 of Orlando Backlot Podcast. I am so excited to be able to do this. I've talked about wanting to do a podcast, but the other part of me feels like we should be putting a tax on podcast equipment because everybody always is starting a podcast, especially men. And like, who wants to, watch a guy just talk? So if you got this far, please subscribe, follow along, follow us on Instagram and YouTube. Those are the platforms that we push the hardest. We work really hard to produce stuff and content for you. On my personal Instagram, I'm, always out and about doing stuff. My wife Malu is always out and about doing stuff. So follow us. I think it will really benefit you and kind of show you what is worth doing, what is not worth doing. And that's kind of my goal. I want you guys to be able to create amazing memories with your families, friends, and even just yourself. I will do things by myself all the time, and some of my best memories are just me. So I would love to pass that knowledge on and give you guys the best advice for experiences over here in Orlando. That is episode 1 of Orlando Backlot. See you in the next one. Oh, I'm going to try and maybe post every other Monday. Maybe more frequently down the line, but we'll see. Peace.